update 1.2.3 is coming tomorrow to Civ 7. We've got a little developer update video today I wanted to walk through quickly. Hey everyone, this is Connor here at Civ House, and like I said, this update comes out tomorrow. We just got an update for the developer team here, so I wanted to kind of walk through what we're seeing in the update, kind of, get a litmus of how I'm feeling about this as we're going into the update tomorrow. Obviously, we've been talking about this a little bit on the channel, and we've gotten, a lot of comments of people kind of dissatisfied with the state of the game, with age transitions and all these kind of different things. So I wanted to come on and kind of give my take as we go through some of this and kind of evaluate the next steps of Civ 7. So let's get right into it, I think, here.
Hey Civ fans, Sean Wilson here, QA lead at Firaxis. You may recognize me from a couple of our live streams and the little videos we would send out talking about the game while we were early in development. Now, I'm here today to talk about our updates for patch 1.2.3. Now, this is a smaller update than June's, but one that hits a couple long requested features and lays the groundwork for some much larger changes we're working on that we mentioned in our last dev check-in.
It's important to, pay attention to prefaces and qualifiers, especially when you're hearing from developers, because I feel like they try to keep things behind a closed curtain. But what he's saying here is really important, I think. And that, yes, it's a smaller update, but it's laying the groundwork for some more major changes. So for those kind of wanting, more sweeping changes to the game, maybe this is their way of kind of saying, hey, we see you, we hear you, we're working on that. But let's keep listening.
Let's start with a feature many of you have been asking for, Auto Explorer. Yes, it's finally here. We've mentioned before that scouts work a bit differently in Civ 7 than Civ 6, which is why we wanted players to have the opportunity to play with scouts' new abilities instead of adding in Auto Explorer right away. But we hear you. Sometimes it's easier to let the scouts and ships loose, allowing them to find discoveries, encounter a new civ, or walk right into danger. Here are all the...
Or he keeps going, I accept that rationale to a degree. Like, we want you to interact with the thing, but there's no way that can be the actual reason that they're just now adding it. I don't know about that one. That's a little bit like, I don't know. I have a feeling if they could have had Auto Explore available month one, right, they would have done that. There's no reason to have waited this long to put it in. I'm glad to finally see it. This is one of those things where if you've played enough Civ games, you're kind of used to features like this coming along a little later, when they probably should have been around a little earlier. But regardless, not to just sit here and pout, I am excited about it being added. I think it will add a ton of quality of life, and it'll make scouts kind of function as they should. They should be, I think, able. Auto Explore is just such a core function of how I've always played Civ games. I understand it's like getting me away from exploring the map and seeing where certain tiles are, but once you've done that so many times, there's just not as much reason to do it. So,
units that have access to Auto Explorer.
Scouts of all ages, including their unique variants. Tier 2 and 3 naval units from the Exploration Age, including the Karak and the Galleon. Note that this does not include the Tier 1 COG unit. And finally, all modern age naval units, excluding the submarine, which includes the Ironclad, Ship of the Line, Cruiser, Dreadnought, Destroyer, and Battleship.
A big thanks to everyone who took part in our feedback event on Discord. It helped shape what the first version of Auto Explorer looks like, and also the potential evolution of this feature down the road. We'll be keeping an eye on how this feels and plays out in practice.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, I don't think there's much more about Auto Explorer. Again, I'm not trying to come on here and be negative. I really don't want to foster a negative energy towards the community. That's really not what I feel like my charge as a Civ content creator is, right? But the fact that we're 2 minutes into a 7-minute video and it's all we've talked about for July is kind of crazy.
What's that? Oh, that's right. We're also introducing the first round of changes coming to the advisor warnings. These are the little pop-ups from your military, economic, scientific, or cultural advisors. Unless you've turned them off completely in your settings, you've probably seen them chime in on things like, another civilization is building the wonder you're going for, or your treasury is overflowing. We've been combing through a ton of players' feedback from our Discord event. Huge thanks if you've chimed in. And it seems like some of these messages were showing up too often or at weird moments, like getting a warning that nuclear weapons are available when you've already built a WMD in a bomber. So, we've reopened the hood and made some initial fixes. Small stuff, but it should already feel a bit smoother. And we're not done. This is just the first pass in an effort to improve advisor warnings. More cleanup and tuning will roll out in future updates.
That's a bright screen. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one to react to because of what I've been saying the whole video. I just don't know if advisor warnings is like the thing. I mean, I guess I get it because they are bad, and like that sound when the notification popped up, honestly, was like a little bit of like PTSD. I'm used to hearing it so much in games. I think I've turned it off at this point in a lot of games, but man, again, I don't know. I just don't know that this is like the thing to target. And again, it's just another like, I don't know. Let's keep listening.
Improve advisor warnings. More cleanup dev update check-in. We mentioned that we have heard feedback from significant segments of our community that we needed to do more work on the abruptness of age transition, improving the overall game replayability, looking especially hard at the legacy paths, and search for new avenues to allow players to identify more deeply with their empire and its path through history. A lot of this work is brewing right now behind the scenes, but this month, our focus is especially on the age abruptness. Here's a quick look at what has changed. In 1.2.3, we've added a new advanced game setting to change how age transition behaves. This new default is called continuity, and the old transition setting is called regroup. Here's what you can expect with continuity on.
Okay, hold on. Let's look at this. This is interesting. Says how drastically empires are affected by age transitions. Continuity default setting, retain most of your empire and units at the age transition mark. Okay. Regroup. Players' empires will reset more aggressively on age transition, including fewer units carried over, leads to a more balanced start between empires next age. This is the original Civ 7. Okay, so now there's a new default that's continuity, but the old one is going to be called regroup. Okay, interesting. Let's hear about this. Sorry, we're jumping around.
Regroup. Here's what you can expect with continuity on. Your units upgrade where they stand, rather than regroup back to your empire. If your units were on someone else's territory, they'll be expelled, like if you lost open borders, but they'll remain nearby. Ships and siege units will now carry over from antiquity to exploration, as well as settlers, migrants, scouts, and merchants in all ages. We've made changes to how your relationships with leaders evolve.
All right, I want to talk about this because I think this is, so far in the update, we're 4 minutes in, this is by far the biggest quality of life change. It's a bit surprising that it took this long. I mean, it feels like that change that they're talking about is very sensible. I'm sure, from a development and engineering standpoint, there's probably a lot more going on that my pea brain just can't quite comprehend, right? But this is great, I will say. Now, I've complained a lot of this video. I've talked about should this really be what we're talking about, right? This is what he just went through is exactly what they should be talking about, because that is something that, like he said, is going to affect replayability at a significant level. It's going to make quality of life a lot better, and it's something the community has been almost completely unified in thinking. And that's certainly, us here at Civ House have expressed multiple times how age transition just feels so damn abrupt. So, really cool to see that. It'll be interesting to see in practicality how much that really makes me want to advance to the next age still. I feel like they're going to be doing more with age transitions and things like that, even more. But, at the very least, a good change, right? I think we can all agree, whether you're watching this video and you're just seething or foaming at the mouth with hatred over this game, that's fine, but I still think we can agree it's a good change.
At transition. Players told us that diplomacy could feel a little jarring, like when you'd spend antiquity locked in conflict with Confucius, only for him to suddenly act like a polite stranger the moment you entered exploration. In this update, we've replaced those sudden relationship shifts with a more gradual change that pulls relationships back towards neutral over time. The further you are from zero, whether friend or foe, the greater the pull. In other words...
Interesting. That's super interesting. So you're going to have a relationship carry over from the previous age, and then basically a decay. I actually like this. This is interesting. This is not what I expected. These are the kinds of updates. So, you know, age transitions, right? We all knew that needed to happen. We all knew that was coming. This actually was not on my radar at all. And I think this is great. This is a good idea. I've always wanted more out of diplomacy in Civ 7. Like, it's my favorite part of the game. Like, not only are you building the board, but you're kind of building out this, like, United Nations style, like, empires of the world council relationship, right? Like, this is awesome. And this is a way to make that more meaningful, because if you just ignore a leader, yeah, you're going to gravitate more to neutral. Like, if you just go, 2,000 years without interacting with another civilization, it's going to become either negative or, apathetic, I guess. So, I like the decay. It's an interesting idea. Now, I think the same with negative is fair. Time heals all wounds kind of idea. But yeah, this is an unexpected, but good change.
Time heals all wounds. If you don't interact with a player after a particularly nasty diplomatic incident, you won't be stuck in that hostile relationship forever. And on the flip side, if you want to maintain that alliance with your best friend across the border, don't forget to push a few positive endeavors now and then. Also, since there are more ways to damage ties currently than build them, we balanced things out by making the pool a bit stronger for when you're in a bad relationship as opposed to a good one. This change should make your relationship with other leaders feel a lot more natural, especially across age transitions. And some smaller but still impactful changes, catapults and merchants, are now available at the start of Exploration Age. Buildings now retain their full base yield and maintenance cost in age transition. They will still lose adjacencies and special effects. Independent powers will now spawn at the beginning of the age after an age transition. We'll continue to expand continuity mode in future updates, but we hope these initial...
I think, especially with the independent powers spawning, I think that makes so much more sense. I don't know why they would just spawn in, without, as if they came later than the other people that are there already. So that one was always confusing to me, so that makes sense. Otherwise, though, I'm as we're watching this, I'm trying to keep in mind what he said at the beginning of the video. Just this is my last bit of, like, Civ Hopium coming out. I always try and be, like, optimistic with developers and patches and things. I followed enough games in my life where I feel like it's a better life to live if you're positive about some of these things than negative. And I think that I can see some of the vision for this being a groundwork patch. Now, if fans can just approach it that way, that's the only thing. I feel like a groundwork patch would have made sense in, like, early June, not late July. If we can get past that, ignore that. If we just say, hey, take it for what it is right now, ignore some of the past, I think this is a pretty good groundwork patch. I think they can build off this a lot when it comes to even further improving age transitions, right? Like, I think there's a lot more they can do here. Now, that being said, I don't feel like, and I know you said at the beginning of the video, this does not feel like near as significant of an update as June was, but still, not bad.
Changes help the next empire flow more smoothly between ages. As always, let us know how it feels. And one more change that should help tackle abruptness. We've added a 10 or more turn safe zone at the end of each age that guarantees you can finish your most critical tasks before the
Thank you. Honestly, I cannot tell you all, and maybe I'm just a dummy, how many times I've been blindsided by an age finishing and, like, not exactly knowing. It's so unintuitive, like, when the age would end. This feels great. Make it clear. The UI, I think, looks abysmal here, by the way. I'm just going to call it for what it is. That 10 turns text, what's going on with that? That looks wild to me. I think I'm ultra fixated on UI after just, like, all the discourse at the beginning of the game. So, like, I probably pick it apart more in this game than any other game I play. Like, it's not something I really look at that often, which I think is kind of meant to be the case, right? It's UI. It's not gameplay. Anyway, I think this is a great change, though. I think this is super, super needed. Like, it should, if we're going to have these arbitrary ages come and go, they should at least be defined with when they start and end very clearly.
Transition occurs. This countdown can be extended to 20 turns or turned off completely. No age progression from any source other than elapsed turns will be added while the countdown is active. And this should give you a little more warning so you know an age transition is coming up. Like I mentioned earlier, this is just...
And this is also great. I've had so many files that I've wanted to save right before an age transition, especially before Civ unlocks, because I didn't know exactly what civs I was getting into. I know you can check that, I just should. But there's a lot of files that I would love to like save at the end of Antiquity and then try a few different ways in exploration. Like that's kind of like I think the model that would work for me. So this is a very easy way to be able to do that. So just from a very like personal how I play the game approach, this is great. Love it.
The start. We're underway with more plans to improve key areas of the game and expand things with each and every update. Now, on to something that will be available for all players alongside 123. Trung Ni, a unique commander. Our designers have had a long-time desire to give Trung Track a unique army commander, Trung Ni, to represent their epic sisterhood. Trung Ni has her own unique model, promotion tree, and functionality.
That's cool.
And those are the highlights for 123. Like every update, you can expect plenty more and detailed changes that impact the UI, quality of life, AI, and game balance. There's a lot more in the update notes, so check them out soon for the full list of changes and improvements. And for those of you who own the Founders Edition of Civilization VII, the wait is over, as the Right to Rule collection rollout will begin with the release of 123. We hope you enjoy what's in this update, and including the new commander Trung Ni. There's plenty.
I didn't talk about Trung Ni. So that's awesome. The unique skill tree is like the coolest part of it, right? I think from just a gameplay perspective. Also just good lore, makes sense, right? Right to Rule coming out's crazy. I maybe I'm like disconnected. Maybe I've been under a rock. I don't think we were expecting that to come out. So that's huge. This should be a massively, I think this is a big deal. A massively appreciated thing, right? This is great. Obviously, it's been delayed. I feel like we, have been waiting on it for a while, unsure. But this is great. This is huge. I think this will give Civ fans a lot of great new content to chew on. It's certainly going to be fun for us here at the channel to be able to experiment around with a little bit. But that makes the July update a lot more appetizing overall to have like some substantive piece of content coming out along with it. So that's huge. Let's see if he's got anything else.
Plenty more on the way. So keep leaving us your feedback and let us know how this update feels. We'll see you here next month, Civ fans.
All right, fair enough. That is the July update. We'll have obviously the full notes tomorrow. I think we'll get, we'll do some more deep dives here on the channel when that time comes. Obviously, we're going to have Right to Rule tomorrow, which is insane. So I need to go back and remember what the heck is coming in Right to Rule. So I'm going to go do that and start to get excited about content tomorrow. But I wanted to hop on here, like I said, give some final thoughts, and overall just a reaction to this trailer. I think that I'm in the same boat as a lot of just like the standard Civ fans. So obviously people, I think sometimes it's like the loudest, like the people on both sides of the spectrum are going to be the loudest on the internet. That's, I think, generally true for a lot of things in life, right? But especially with like Civ fans, you have a very angry group over here and a very loud, happy group over here. I feel like the angry group has been a little louder recently, and I feel like that, not that that's been affecting me, but I have definitely felt the sentiment towards comments on the channel or whatever it may be is significantly more negative. And that's something that, again, for me, it's just not the way I approach games. I'm not like looking at these games trying to find reasons to be upset with them. Like I am genuinely just excited about the next piece of content because I enjoy playing games and making content about them. And so like this is a cool thing for me to get into, right? Like this next update is fun to talk about. That being said, this video and like some of the updates, some of the things they're talking about is like, hey, look at this thing we're adding. We're fixing advisor tooltips. Like that is wild to me that we're still talking about something like an advisor tooltip in late July for this game, right? So again, I want to be fair. I want you all to know that this channel has no like financial affiliation with Firaxis or Civ or anything, right? Like we're just trying to come up here and make entertaining and honest opinions about the game. So maybe we're a bit more positive on that side of things, so be it. But want to come on here and at least talk to you all directly, that we're being as honest as we can be. Like there's nothing that we're hiding about our opinions about the game or anything like that. This is just truly how we feel about it. But always open to more discourse in the comments. We read them all. We try to respond to as many as we can. We've had some other games we've been covering right now, but very, very excited for this update. Going to be tuning in tomorrow to see what all is included in it, because honestly, I've forgotten, and we'll be covering it here on the channel. So, from our house to yours, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, we'll see you all next time for one more turn.